Sorry about that, guys. My phone ran out of memory, so we're going for my husband's phone. We're removing the bag. I was just going to show you where you can start to see the adhesive change to the barrier of the actual wafer. So you want to start just working your way down. And I use the adapt ring so you can actually see part of the adapt ring as you're pulling away, and you just kind of keep going as you're going down. Here's my adapt ring. You can see as I'm pulling away, and you just want to keep working with this adhesive remover. Keep working down as you keep going. Don't worry about anything, going on you. It's not a big deal. It's an old bag. And you just keep going until it comes off. And you just want to keep pushing. You want to push your skin away from it, and it usually just pops right off pretty easily. And what you want to do after you remove the bag is you want to look at the seal to see if there's any potentials, any leaks possibly happening. And mine looks like it formed a really good seal. I don't see any leaks possibly happening. So you can see the seal happened here. You don't see anything leaking or trying to leach its way out on any of these here areas here. So that's really good. I had a good seal. No possible leaks happening. So what you do is I just shove it in here. Adhesive remover is toast, and then I take my clip off once I've got my entire bag and the wafer in there, and then I kind of shake it down into the bag. Okay, now I have my old clip, put it there, and then I take the new adhesive remover out of the bag, or out of its pouch, and then I kind of go around the area because I have the adapt ring. I want to get all of that extra adhesive from the adapt ring off, and then we'll worry about removing all the stool from my stoma, on which my stoma is going now. So I usually keep the toilet open so I can just toss toilet paper right in there. It's not a big deal that way. And my stoma's name is Oscar, so everybody meet Oscar. Here's Oscar. My kid's named, my daughter Dylan actually named my stoma. And thankfully Oscar is not too grouchy of a fella, so he treats me pretty good. I'm pretty lucky. He has pretty good output, and I don't have any leaks so far, and my skin is healing up nicely. You can see around the stoma where the irritation has happened, where the skin breakdown has happened, but it was probably about 10 times worse than this, and it's actually healing. You can kind of see where the gray area on the skin is, and that's actually the skin healing. And then I mentioned in my video before, I would point to the area where the hernia started to happen, and I have a small hernia that's behind my stoma, and the way they can tell is when they push down on this area, the small area here, where right below my finger, this little bulge right here between my two fingers is where the hernia is, and that little bulge is caused from the hernia, and it actually will bulge up a little bit when you push down on the stoma, or on the area around the stoma. So that's what it looks like if you're looking for signs of a hernia ever. And luckily mine's really small, and it's not causing any obstruction to my stoma or anything, so I can just leave it be. So I'm just cleaned around the skin with the adhesive remover, just making sure everything is coming off the skin. Then I take my damp washcloth, or my paper towel, and I take it and I wipe my skin down around the whole area to make sure, and then I kind of turn it around. So make sure everything's wiped down. Don't ever use soap and water. You don't want to put that on this area because it's going to cause irritation. And lot of soaps have lotions in it, and it will cause problems with your wafers sticking. And you don't want to do anything that's going to cause problems. And if you see blood, that's okay. It's just from the skin around or a little bit off of your stoma. And it's pretty vascular, so if you rub it too hard, you might get a little bit of blood. And I just dab around it just to make sure I got everything off. Now I'm going to take the stoma powder and put it on the skin around the stoma. And don't be afraid of having too much because it's going to stick to what it needs to. Pat it a little bit and then run your finger or a paper towel. I usually take this, rub the excess away, and then take this barrier film and you just touch it on the powder, and you'll see the color change almost instantly on the powder to clear, and that is it forming the crusting. So there's your first layer of crusting. Now I'm going to take my wafer and let it dry. I'm going to do one more, oopsie, and then I'm having a little bit of output, so I want to wipe that up before it gets onto that area. Okay, it's already dry, so I'm going to do one more layer. I've got a little bit of output, so I'm going to wipe it up before it gets on anything. And I'm going to take this piece of toilet paper and kind of wipe things down. And I'm going to take this lollipop again and go around the powder again to do the crusting. And there is my layer of crusting around my stoma. And I'm going to do just where my seal goes. Put it back in its little container here. I have a little bit of stool coming out. Put that up. Okay, so I have that Adapt barrier ring. I only use half, so here's the other half I'm going to keep for my next use. And I keep the wrapper on it for the next time just because it is so sticky that if you don't, you'll never get it back out of there. I made that mistake once, so just letting you guys know because I made that mistake of removing the plastic on the entire ring, thinking I could use it the next time, and so I connect it together and then I start making my circle again. Meanwhile, just kind of checking to make sure I'm not having any output. And just kind of, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. You just kind of keep going. And I'm going to set this on there. And at some point you want to make sure that your cut is made to fit well around your stoma. I should have done this before I did my crusting, but I forgot. So I have a fit that looks pretty good. What do you think, honey? Yep, I think the cut looks really good, so I'm gonna take the back off and put the adapter ring on. You want to make sure it's as close to this as you can get without it actually being like right on there, and then kind of just mush it on. Okay. And then start to get your wafer on. I accidentally crinkled mine up a little bit, but that's okay. Line it up. Does it look like I have it lined up pretty good? Okay, and then you kind of stick it down. I'm going to push it down, and then you have the tabs around it that have the adhesive. Peel those off and stick them onto your skin. And I kind of stick my belly out a little bit, so when you stick it to you, you're not stuck. It's not stuck to you in like a hunched position, and then when you go to straighten up, it's all bunched up. And I'll pull off the next tab. Kind of extend your belly a little bit, and down it goes. Okay, and then what I do next is, there's a little bit of output coming out. What I do next is I push down on this ring here on the inside, and it kind of just pushes the seal down. And I just go around in a circle to make sure it's really sealed. And make sure it's on there really good. And then this point where I attach my bag. And then usually what I do is one more round of powder just to make sure my skin is extra safe, because it's just been so bad, my skin. So I just do one more little bit of powder, and I kind of just push it in there, and then now it's time for my bag. So when you're putting on your bag, line it up however you want your output to be coming out when you empty your bag. And then I usually just wait for the clicks. It's like clicking on a Tupperware. Now I've got it clicked on, and then I usually go all the way around. There's an extra click. And then when I am done, I pull to make sure it's on there, which it is. And then after that, I walk around for 5 minutes with my hand over it just to make sure it's heated up and sealed on there well. So that's my bag change. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below or email me, and I'm happy to answer. I hope you guys are all doing well. Talk to you soon. Bye.